Pick up your smartphone right now and take a good look at it. Without knowing what kind of phone you have, maybe excluding foldables, I know it's a slab made out of plastic or metal with the screen and some arrangement of cameras on the back. It feels like smartphone hardware for the most part has come to a standstill, and now companies have to get creative with the software on their phones. And I'll bet that over the next few years, phone companies will focus on software features over hardware to get you to buy their phone over competitors. There was a time where we were getting all sorts of new significant hardware features on phones, from fingerprint sensors to facial recognition, huge phones with large batteries, nearly bezel-less displays, under-display cameras, and the greatest of them all, the removal of the headphone jack. And there's still a lot of stuff that can be improved on with hardware, like wireless charging, maybe under-display front-facing cameras that are as good and reliable as regular ones, but there's no facing the fact that hardware innovations have become less significant. Let me explain. It's like when Apple switched their computers from Intel-based chips to their own M1 chips. The leap forward was insane. Since M1, we've had M2, and now we have M3, and they've been a boost in performance, but the change wasn't as big as the initial switch from Intel-based chips to M1. Seeing new hardware features that are actually practical and useful to the majority of users is becoming more rare. Software, on the other hand, is getting really interesting. And of course, you always need hardware to meet the demands of software capabilities, whether that's having enough computing power to enhance something like the phone's OS, or even having dedicated parts to enable software features to even be possible in the first place. Traditionally, we've always seen headlining features on new phones be hardware related, maybe because it's easier to market and it's something that can be physically seen or even held. I believe this shift in the industry is inevitable, and with the rise of AI, this will speed things up dramatically. I feel like we're already kind of in the early stages of this movement, for lack of better words. A prime example of this is the iPhone, one of the most popular phones in the world. One of the biggest features this year was next-gen portraits, which pretty much allows you to turn photos with the subject in them into nice portraits after taking them. This is enabled through machine learning software that detects a subject is in your frame and gathers all the information the phone needs to then convert the photo afterwards. I use this example because the learning curve on a feature like this isn't super difficult. It's something that can be widely used. You don't have to be a professional photographer to make use of this feature, right? To elaborate on that, the iPhone 15 this year also supports Log, which is an uncompressed video format that allows complete creativity in post-production. While this is a welcome change and it's very useful going forward, especially if you're, a fan of shooting video, I feel like companies will focus on features like next-gen portraits that the majority of their users can take advantage of. Apple's not the only one doing this. The Pixel phones, which have already had a great reputation for having amazing software, they stepped things up a lot this year, and you can do stuff like completely remove subjects from photographs or use AI to reduce background noise from your video recordings, and even have Google Assistant completely summarize articles for you. With the rise of AI and it becoming much harder for companies to differentiate their phones from one another, I think we'll see a lot of new software features, but I still don't think it'll all be good. If I had to guess, this will also probably come with annoying paywalls or blocking features for lower tier products that'll be exclusive to higher tier products or flagship that the companies want to sell you. Google did that this year with the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 8 Pro. The phones both carry the Tensor G3 chip, but only the Pro phones have advanced camera controls. So it's not like the standard Pixel 8 isn't capable of having this feature, but the standard phone sells for $699 while the Pro starts at $999. So of course, they have to give you a reason to shell out another $300 for their flagship. Apple's iPhone 14 Pro has the A16 Bionic chip that they've carried over to this year's standard 15 models. But remember that feature I mentioned earlier, next-gen portraits? Yeah, that's not available on the 14 Pro. Why? Well, I don't know, but maybe it's because they need to sell more iPhone 15 models. This just goes to show the potential of software and how much better or worse companies can make your device and user experience by just tweaking software alone. Tesla released a cheaper version of their Model X and Y with a $10,000 lower price. It's essentially the same car physically, but it gets less range and it's not as fast. This is all limited by software. I don't know how this feels knowing that my car or phone in the future is capable of pulling off certain tasks, but it's limited because if I want to get the most out of it, I need to pay more money for it. But companies can and will get greedy if we allow them to, like offering subscription models for features, as we've already seen companies start to consider. And the other thing I can see them doing is promising features that will come in the near future. Pixel recently announced the zoom enhance feature and the video boost feature coming later, and for Pixel 8 Pro only. While it's great that companies can add features through software to improve your phone after purchasing it, companies can also fall into the pattern of shipping unfinished phones on a promise that they'll bring features in the near future. Hardware still plays a role though, and you can't have software without hardware. While I believe the emphasis on software features will be more significant going forward, and the way companies promote new products will focus on the software end of things more, the backbone of these software features and what allows them to be possible will still be hardware. For example, as great as the Pixel's new AI features are, and even with Google switching the Pixels from Snapdragon to Tensor a few years ago, a lot of the features aren't even available on device. A lot of the Pixel features require internet connection because it can't be done directly on the phone because it requires so much computing power, and it can really take a phone on the device's battery as well. I'm not saying there won't ever be hardware improvements again. That's never going to be the case. Phone chips are becoming extremely powerful, displays are getting very bright, and things can always be refined and improved on in that department. And at the end of the day, we will always need hardware to make the software better. However, what I am saying is that phone hardware across the board right now is very good, and at the pace we're moving at, it's going to be a lot harder to incentivize users to upgrade on hardware features alone. I think there will be many great software features we'll see on phones in the near future. What do you think though? If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and I got more of these videos coming in the future. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.